For 20 years they were the best reality TV father and son team. Their fiery fights and way of life motorbike masterpieces wowed a huge number of people around the world watched, although most fans don't know this real story going on behind the scenes in the law fights, money problems, and family problems, a drama that almost ruined everything they put it together. His name is Paul Teutul Sr. Paul Jr. at S. became famous in 2002 when AMC's American Chopper debuted on Channel Discovery. During the show at Orange County Choppers, they lived their lives. The handmade bike shop started by Sr. year in Montgomery, New York in 1999. People have watched for years as Sr. famous handlebar mustache and a fiery attitude, and his intelligent son about plans, due dates, and family arguments. Still behind the careful episode cuts and dramatic fights are a lot more complicated than that. The truth, having worked for almost 7 years, seeing each other on TV, the friendship, their relationship with each other reached a breaking point that would make them change. Survives forever. September 2008 came and went. Paul Jr. was fired from Orange when his own father painted County Choppers. What the huge fight that ended in his enum wasn't just good TV. That firing happened. Years of work had led up to it, a fight between two men with strong wills, individuals who were unable to work together anymore. Hold what I got even more private after I said goodbye to her daughter. Sr. had once talked about how he usually acts. I did that when basically stop everything. I wasn't feeling it was like talking to someone who wasn't very near to me. They weren't fired, it was the end of their work relationship. It caused a nasty court case, an ongoing conflict that would last for many years. Within Sr. actually sued his Choose stock options for their own son business with motorcycles. The court case led to a split that was so wide that Paul Jr. in August 2010 he married Rachel Beast. Father decided not to go to the wedding, despite having been invited. What the fight made money for Discovery Channel, which made American Chopper possible. 2010 Sr. versus Jr. matchup. For father and son to be business enemies, Sr. had opened his own store, Paul Jr. Designs, which brought along a number of former workers at OC, including his brother Joe Martino, Michael Teutul, and Vinny D. Martino. Nubk, Collard, and Pulifico as the cams caught there behind the scenes. There is professional competition. Both men were in a lot of financial trouble and court battles that would worry whatever they had built as a senior. The problem started to get worse in 2017 when Thomas Derbyshire, an investor, asked for a tutu, was sued for using his putting money into investments for personal reasons. For Page 6 says that Derbyshire said he had agreed to put up $3 million for a chance to be in a TV show that comes after an Orange County Choppers themed TV show made in America. Sr. was sued and said exceeded to having to leave shooting to go fishing without consulting anyone, funding, and used it to pay his son Michael of Farnit. Invested. Sr.'s money issues kept getting worse. Corv through February 2018. He applied for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which showed that the terrible state of his money. Judgment documents showed that he owed about 50 unsecured creditors $171,000, plus $1.8 million charged keen interest in both his home and another owing $151,000 in taxes. His home in Montgomery failed as his company went into foreclosure. Around him started to fall apart. Issues with taxes. The senior's problems in California's Orange County. The clerk's office put in a $250 order against him for taxes he owed on Orange County Choppers Cafe in Newburgh, New York. Then, according to the Miami Herald, says that the OC Roadhouse project got into a lot of trouble. Over a dozen businessmen said they had put between 12 and the business got $15 million, which was allegedly offered at the same time to many different groups of investors. Laws and things got worse after that. Within 2019, Senior broke the law and was found guilty because they broke a court order about a work disagreement with JTM Motorsports completed on his Corvette on a government. The judge in bankruptcy told him to pay the auto company $17,000 right-away purchase at first during a court ordered during the conference for the same case. Senior allegedly got so angry security had to lead him out of the construction. It was April 2019 and the trustee taking care of Senior's bankruptcy case wanted it to be thrown out, citing his not providing the correct paperwork, that is federal tax forms, for 2017. And after this year, another thing the director said was Senior's budget shows a loss cash flow, which makes it clear that he won't be able to make any improvements plan for Chapter 13, receiving payments as Senior was figuring out because of his legal and money problems. Paul Jr. was making a name for himself from the shadow of his father. While we waited, sign a 1-year non-compete agreement with Orange County Choppers. Jr. started building bikes at his new home organization. Paul Jr. projects PJD. The business did well and secured a number of well-known teams making Blizzard bikes that are unique. World of Warcraft and other games. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a movie coming out of the shadows. Turtles in 2011. The dad and son went to court. Finally came to an end. This happened on August 29, 2011. The case with Senior was solved, buying 20% of Orange from Junior. The end of years of county Choppers a lawsuit. Even though they were, the relationship was still tense. The end of the case led both men to work on fixing up their two different businesses. Even though both father and son have had a rough past, shown amazing strength back in March. Senior went to Orange County in 2020. Operations to Florida by helicopter. Not later than 2021. The OC Museum and Roadhouse were his first businesses, together with Clearwater, Florida. Keith Overton is a business person. The place where includes a restaurant, a place to hold concerts, motorcycle museum, and it was the site of the OC bicycling show and biker building up in 2023. Junior keeps doing what just run Paul Jr. when you design well, balancing his work life with his personal life, function as a husband and father in addition to his wife Rachel, and have started a family away from the trouble that shaped his early life. Project during this time, Michael Teutul, who he was often the go-between for watching the show with his dad and brother run, has kept up with his art hobbies, starting a gallery to show off his art, painted pictures in a strange twist of occasions. Discovery Channel brought back for a new season of American Chopper in 2018, featuring both senior and teenager. Although they weren't any more putting everyone together, the showed at that point some healing had happened, but not each other's wounds. What that the show ended in 2019, possibly indicating the end of the two. A trip through TV together. The most not long ago reports started going around that Senior was going to work with West Coast Choppers Jesse James and Billy Lane, star of Monster Garage, to make an all-new network for viewing videos online. Outlaw TV has a show for seniors on the site. Allegedly goes by the name Senior Living, likely keeping a record of his mostly retired life. Florida. What happened with the two tell not even close to being over. Despite the law fighting, going broke, and family fights, they've made their lives better again. Firms and companies. The trip they took from local bike makers who make custom bikes to, from reality TV stars to businessmen, to keep their histories alive, has been packed with exciting highs and terrible lows. Concerning the claims going around the internet about either Paul Principal or Paul Jr. being sent to, they are all life sentences. These are untrue. Two guys have been charged with crimes problems that come up in business disagreements during bankruptcy procedures and questions. Neither has been charged with or found guilty of any crime that would lead within that sentence. Tetu's real story is already too hard to handle. Lie claims. It's a story about relationships, goals, successes, setbacks, and, in the end, resilience from their lowly starting out as a TV star through acrimonious fights, and lost money for them currently love, and run their own businesses. There are still Paul Teutul Sr. and Paul Jr. two of the most interesting people in history of reality TV. What happened? Being convicted of a crime or locking up. It's about the trick friendship between a dad and his kid whose love of bikes they shared became famous and rich. Tore them that sets them apart and continues to do so. Lives while they were creating different ones, pathways, eventually the strongest made just for you and Orange County. It was not at all a motorbike choppers. It was that the Teutul left behind a complex legacy that keeps changing into this of the day. Thanks for seeing this. If you liked, watch this movie about touts, and don't forget to show support and sign up. Click on the alert bell to stay up to date on all. Watch our new videos about your favorite the whereabouts of reality TV stars currently. Honestly though, life is life's about getting better for all of you. Additionally, I believe it has been a lesson for me on how to wait with. Personally, I kept saying the saying. Now I tell everyone we're timely. The flashlight goes out as the familiar shape takes the lead. People in the crowd are quiet and respectful as his first clear notes came in. Let the music fill the air. We're not wrong about who is in front of them. Vince Gill is the man whose voice has been hearing described as tenor angel kissed, and who plays guitar well enough to make a deal with Satan since more than 40 years ago. One of Vincent Grant Gill the most admired acts in country music, having won 22 Grammys, more than any other country music guy, artist, and backstory. He went from Oklahoma to banjo picker to well-known people in Nashville is what tales are made of. In spite of the behind all the praise and fame is a story of stick with it, sadness, and never give up devotion to what he does. Spreading false stories periodically go around about his the real Vince Gill in his daily life does the same thing he always does: make music that moves people, help charity causes, and stay an important and well-liked person in the industry. His story doesn't involve crime or a battle. It's a matter of skill, work, sincere kindness, and dedicated. Created a real American treasure. Audio. Growing up. Born April 12, 1957 in Norman, Oklahoma. Vince's musical trip began with the help of, in the case of his lawyer father, Stan Gill, and country singer on the side. Stan taught his son to play the banjo, and pushed his I've always been interested in music coming from his mom. Jiren Vince brought up a love of singing and play the harp. Anytime I messed up, I immediately got in trouble. Vince recalled how strict his father was. Way of parenting. My dad was nicel looking caddy. Normally he was a lawyer, but by birth a redneck. Despite the hard times, love Stan taught his son to love to find music that would change his whole life existence. But as a teen, Gill quickly learned many instruments, including the guitar, fiddle, banjo, mandolin, and basses. They became a blueg grass group, Smoke from the Mountains, while still high school, displaying amazing skills that hid how young he was. After turning 18, he went to Cookies, Louisville. Will join Bluegrass Alliance. Then a while we were in Boone Creek with Ricky Skaggs. What the next step in his musical development was worked in Los Angeles in 1976. Byron Berlin on fiddle joined the group Sunshine. Unfortunately, it wasn't until 1979 that Gill tried his first popular music when he joined Pure Prairie to have Success League as their main singer. Using his rising tenor, he sang on the Band's first song to get Let Me Love You. Tonight to number 10 on the top of the charts. The fight for being alone good. Luck Gill was ready for a new career by 1981. Challenges. His name was Rodney Crowell. Band called the Cherry Bombs, where he played guitar with future record makers Tony the Two were Emery Gordy Jr. Feeling this, his songwriting got better as he gained practice and get him ready to go on his own project. Gill decided to work with RCA in 1983 albums and moved to Nashville to try to get his wish to become a country music star. His is they got their first record, Turn Me Loose, in 1984. He was named the Academy of Country Music's Best New Metal for Male Singers, a beginning of his own career. Nevertheless, even though it got good reviews and respect from artists, commercial, it was hard to find success. For the whole 1980s, Gill put out a number of records for that didn't do very well for RCA. Besides his many skills, he was more known for his studio work and playing artists who play guitar and sing harmony. These people are Rosanne Cash, Emmylou Harris, and dear Reba McEntire. During this difficult time, Gill got an unexpected offer, joining Dire Straits as Mark Knopfler, extra guitar player, trying to proposition from one of the most famous rock bands. Although feeling pleased, Gill said no, determined to be successful in country music by himself. Phrases soon his hard work would pay off. Leave It Alone. Gill decided to work with MCA in 1989, put out records and Take When I Call You. That is the record that would finally bring the big break. He had been working so hard for difficult to reach what the title track featuring Patty singing harmony. It went from